And the word of the Lord was made to me, and he said, Thou son of man, set thy face against Gog, and against the land of Magog, the prince of the head of Meshech and of Tubal, and prophesy thou of him. And thou shalt say to him, The Lord God saith these things. Ah, Gog, lo, I to thee, prince of the head of Meshech and Tubal, and I shall lead thee about, and I shall set a bridle in thy cheeks, and I shall lead out thee, and all thine host, horses and horsemen, all clothed with habergeons, a great multitude of men, taking spear, and shield, and sword, Persians, Ethiopians, and Libyans with them, all be arrayed with shields and helmets. Gomer, and all the companies of him, the house of Torgama, the sides of the north, and all the hosts thereof, and many peoples be with thee. Make ready, and array thee, and all thy multitude which is gathered to thee, and be thou into commandment to them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the last of years thou shalt come to the land that is turned again from the sword, and was gathered of many peoples, to the hills of Israel, that were desert full oft. This was led out of peoples, and all men dwell trustily therein. Forsooth thou shalt descend, and shalt come as a tempest, and as a cloud, for to cover the land, thou, and all thy companies, and many peoples with thee. The Lord God saith these things. In that day words shall ascend on thine heart, and thou shalt think the worst thought, and shalt say, I shall go up to the land without walls. I shall come to them that rest, and dwell securely. All these dwell without walls, bars, and gates be not to them. That thou ravish spoils, and assail prey, that thou bring in thine hand on them that were forsaken, and afterward restored, and on the people which is gathered of heathen men, that began to wield, and to be inhabiter of the navel of earth, Sheba and Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish, and all the lions thereof, shall say to thee, whether thou camest to take spoils, lo, to ravish prey thou hast gathered thy multitude, that thou take away gold and silver, and do away appurtenance of household and cattle, and that thou ravish praise without number. Therefore prophesy thou, son of man, and thou shalt say to Gog, The Lord God saith these things, whether not in that day, when my people Israel dwell trustily, thou shalt know, and shalt come from thy place, from the sides of the north, thou and many peoples with thee, all riders of horses, a great company, and an huge host. And thou as a cloud shalt descend on my people Israel, and thou shalt cover the earth. Thou shalt be in the last days, and I shall bring thee on my land, that my folks know, when I shall be hallowed in thee, thou Gog, before the eyes of them. The Lord God saith these things. Therefore thou art he of whom I spake in old days, in the hand of my servants, prophets of Israel, that prophesied in the days of those times, that I should bring thee on them. And it shall be in that day, in the day of coming of Gog on the land of Israel, saith the Lord God, mine indignation shall ascend in my strong vengeance, and in my fervor I spake in the fire of my wrath. For in that day shall be great earth moving on the land of Israel, and fishes of the sea, and beasts of earth, and birds of the air, and each creeping beast which is moved on earth, and all men that be on the face of earth shall be moved from my face, and hills shall be underturned, and hedges shall fall down, and each wall shall fall down into the earth, and I shall call together a sword against him in all mine hills, saith the Lord God. The sword of each man shall be dressed against his brother, and I shall deem him by pestilence, and blood, and great rain, and by great stones. I shall rain fire and brimstone on him, and on his host, and on many peoples that be with him. And I shall be magnified, and shall be hallowed, and I shall be known before the eyes of many folks, and they shall know that I am the Lord.